Hello, my fellow broke aristocrats. It's me, Dr. Whimsy, and today we're talking about budgeting. And what do you do when you break your budget, when you get off the wagon and you decide, it's too much work, I can't be bothered, I want to go out with friends, I want to have fun, I want to drink that latte. What do you do when you get off the wagon? Do you wait until the following month and start all over again? How do you handle it? Well, the reason I'm talking about all this is because I went over on my budget this month, and this is something that can happen. And as I had said in previous videos, I have two budgets. I have my regular budget, and then I have my extreme budget, or what I like to call my zombie apocalypse budget. And that's the budget where I get extremely frugal in the event that things change. Say I have a bad week at work, there's no business, nobody's coming into the office, this is something that can happen, and then I have to just get really, really low on my budget because business is slow. There might be an unexpected disaster, Murphy calls, and I don't want to be dipping into the emergency fund. That is why I have two budgets. I have my regular budget and that extreme budget. And you can always go over and switch on, just like switching gears. You can switch on to that extra frugal budget in the event of an emergency. This is something I would also encourage if you are on a budget right now, not to be so strict that you never have any fun, because you're less likely to stay consistent on that budget. So what happened this month was that I hired a tech person who was going to do some SEO, and he is going to be doing SEO, but when he looked at my website, he really felt like the website we needed to do an upgrade on the website. So that was where some of the money went to. Now that is money that I don't mind spending. I don't mind going into that zombie apocalypse budget, the frugal, extra frugal budget. If that extra money that I'm spending to go over budget is for something of value, like an upgrade on my business. The other thing I invested in, speaking of businesses, is that I bought some stuff for the office. So the vast majority of the overspending on my budget definitely came from these expenses, business expenses. But there were other expenses that were eating out, having fun, being irresponsible, etc., etc., etc. Excuse me. So what do I do? What do I suggest people do? I suggest that people just start right away. You could wait until the following month and say, okay, well, I'll have the month of June be a no spend, where there's no frills, there's nothing fun, I'll just live dramatically below my means. That'll be it. It'll be beans and rice. I think that if you have to do that, you have to do that. But for the most part, I think the best thing to do is to just start from where you're at. So for me, it was looking at my budget and writing everything down starting May 17th. That is when I started my midpoint, and I said, okay, we're going to stop everything. I'm going to go over my finances and see where I'm holding and go on that super frugal budget. So there's two ways you can do it, and this is something that people are not going to necessarily be consistent on because it takes a tremendous amount of work, and if it takes too much work, people are not going to stick with it. But one of the things you could do is every time you spend money, you can write down the money you spent in an account and a reckoning book, so you really are getting a clue about how much money is going out. You can also, in your account and a reckoning book, just jot down how much money is coming in, particularly if you've got side jobs like babysitting, doing something on the side. Those extra monies, you can write all that stuff down. People don't tend to stick with that though, because it is one of those things where, oh, I forgot to write it down, and then I got to go look, etc. Envelope systems, I've said in the past, I personally don't use them because I have lost money. I have lost envelopes. They're not insured, and when they're gone, they're gone. I prefer using a debit card, and then every couple days I look at my, I go online and I see what's gone out of my debit account. I can write it down that way. I have a pretty good idea going into it, if I'm shopping, what my budget is. And then I just, if I'm confused or whatever, I can just go over. Today, for example, I printed out all the exchanges on my bank account since the first of the month, and I just went over everything. That works better for me, and I just think it's safer and more secure. So that is what I'm doing. Getting back on budget is, it happens, you get off the wagon, you decide, you know what, I do want to spend that extra money upgrading my office, whatever the expense is, or whatever has put you in that situation. To err is human. I would just tell people, start from where you're at. I personally don't think you have to wait until the middle of, or the next month. I don't think you have to wait until, oh, well, I'll wait until June 1st or January 1st. I think you can start mid-month. That is what I'm doing. And hopefully, if you've got a side job, do a little bit of extra babysitting, whatever, and going on to that plan B, that apocalypse budget of where you really start pulling back, you should be able to get back to that balance that you are seeking. Okay, so that's a little bit about what I do when I go over budget. Obviously, if you've got a accountability partner or friends you can talk to, for me it's just getting online and talking to my fellow broke aristocrats. Definitely encouraging each other is also a great way to ensure that we live below our means. All right, I want to thank you for watching this video of Broke Aristocrats. Be sure and share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and tell me what you're doing to take care of yourself without breaking the bank. And don't be so hard on yourself if you get off your budget. Just to err is human, and start again. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.